D. Everything's in D. Everything that you ever heard, that's in D too. Everything is in D. Maybe we'll get some songs that aren't in D today. What do you think? I don't know. But my guitar certainly would prefer things in D. Well, we're certainly going to have things that are big today. Look, obviously, there's a new Big Thief album out, isn't there? Everyone loves Big Thief. To be honest, I've not heard what people are saying about this one in particular. But that's what we're gonna have a look at today. Double Infinity. Let's just have a look at musical bingo. We've got odd section lengths, we've got 8-bit synths, we've got bridge, has multiple sections. Now, synths is something I am not expecting today, so maybe this will go less well than normal, but whatever. Section larger than 16 bars, I think probably likely to happen. Sudden drop seems unlikely. Affected drums, maybe. No intro, maybe. Building noises, that seems unlikely too. Distorted sample, one moving part in pre-chorus, chorus drop from chorus to bridge, one full fat synths, full mix filter, one moving part in hook, verse chorus repetition, percussive synths. Well, you know, I reckon you can read all that, can't you? And we're going to go through it every bloody song anyway, so no need to overdo it. Anyway, yeah, Big Thief. Well, what to say about Big Thief? Big Thief are certainly pretty successful. Big Thief has released 6 albums by themselves. Masterpiece, Capacity, Oof Off, Two Hands, Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You, and now Double Infinity. That's 6, with apparently Masterpiece being remastered. Yeah, I mean, only going since 2016, but they have really amassed themselves a beloved audience. No, sorry, a loving audience. They are kind of a cult band, I suppose, because they're not, you know, hugely commercially successful, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure they aren't. But they have a huge set of people into them otherwise, who aren't, you know, buying singles. Rude, really. I guess that's just like other people, isn't it? Most people aren't buying singles, are they? I don't know. That doesn't seem to be a thing. But also, Adrian Lenker, the lead singer, has released a lot of her own music as well, which annoyingly isn't in the similar artists. Yeah, Adrian Lenker. Most recently, this Bright Future album, which I was mild on. I don't think it's amazing, but I know, and I haven't listened to songs and instrumentals, though I think lots of people think those are great. I have listened to Abyss Kiss, which is just over here, and I think Abyss Kiss is pretty great. I should go back to that at some point. And in fact, I think that was the first one I listened to of all Big Thief stuff. I think I've also listened to A-Sides and was less interested. She made that with Buck Meek, who is also in Big Thief. But yeah, it's an interesting collection, and it feels like an there's like a core sound of Big Thief, which is broadly a acoustic, energized acoustic music let's say that's the core, but then there's so many edges to it and so many different pieces fracking off. I don't know, it's late at night and I'm losing the words. But anyway, lots of different elements that then make different versions of Big Thief songs. I really liked Dragon New Warm Mountain. I Believe in You. and I would say that well, it probably loses a bit of steam. You've got some fantastic songs on there, and I'm looking for some more of those. But this album cover is sort of setting me off on the wrong foot. This really feels like an element that has been made in, or that you can make in No Man's Sky. If you play that, all the elements pretty much look like this, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. It certainly doesn't look like two infinity signs, but maybe they're the things, they're the lines going around it. Who knows? Not really important anyway. I'm going to put on this headphone and we're going to have a listen. Incomprehensible. Oh, sorry. I had already started the track. Let's go back. Okay, so we had a bit of time there right at the beginning of the track, this kind of strange synthy bow sound, and then it was into quite a well, ASMR kind of acoustic with these very close what's the word, the shimmery, sparkly kind of sounds. Let's hear it again. Yeah, so I think it probably is a synth in the background actually. Just quite a soft synth with a oh kind of sound. Ooh. But then it's got this really bright, sparkly and slightly filter sweepy high end, which is just, yeah, really electric sounding, really. Really bright, hard to look at with your ears, if you know what I mean. And then we completely changed texture, as far as I can tell, into something more propulsive. Yeah, and we've got some straightforward chords. A, E and D. The A would be our root chord, our nice number 1. The E is our nice number 5 in the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, major. And then the D is our chord 4. So that's super common, super familiar sounding. Can I think of another song that does that off the top of my head? Yeah, I'm gonna find myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes to me. It's not quite, it's something else. Mother Mary comes to me. Yeah, something very close though. Anyway, those are the chords we've got. We've got some very soft sounding percussion, which is nonetheless quite lively. Let's hear it again. This kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a hi-hat in there. I mean, I would say a snare, but the snare sounds like it's covered in something. It sounds really soft in comparison to normal. Is there a kick drum? Yeah, there is. It's not very common, and it's got, again, this kind of softer sound. There's no hard click to it. It's just a poof, poof sound. There's maybe a little bit of other percussion in there. What else have we got? We've got a kind of interesting honky keyboard. Actually, you know what? That's an organ, isn't it? An organ is on our bingo. Very good. Exciting. Acoustic guitars, maybe? Not acoustic guitars, really, but yeah, some maybe synth or maybe guitar doing just that line. The lowest instrument, what's the bass doing? Yeah, the bass is just doing those notes as well, but boom, boom. not particularly interesting really. There's a little bit of excitement on the organ. Yeah, it's more of a texturally exciting thing going on, but things sort of come in and out of the 4, out of the main ground, and then we have this shimmer of chimes as we pass the next part. So high and tinkly, just a little icing on the top of the song, and then we're into presumably a first verse. Well, fun. Quite a heavy reverb suddenly comes on there, just making everything really thick. Is it just on the vocals or is it on the whole thing? I'm going to have to go back again to check. Here it doesn't feel very thick. There's a little bit of extra stuff in the background, but it's not this thick. No, so there's some echoes on the voice, but it's actually an extra sort of mid bass thing that comes in, maybe another guitar, just going whoa, and blowing out the acoustic quite impressively. It is affecting other instruments too. So this is fun. This is almost like a full mix filter, except it's a reverb. They've put big reverb on things in one particular section and not in another. It's a weird sound, but I guess it, lends cavernous deep to the incomprehensible, whatever that is. A little shimmer of what might be a sitar there in the background there. Just doing those notes. Something like that. Just shimmering away in the left speaker. So texturally here we've gone for quite a soft feeling with everything here. The brightness of some instruments is a sweet sugar in comparison to the softness of everything else. All the drums, they're not really punching you in the face. They are soft. They have this soft attack. And they're not working across the whole frequency spectrum. They're just in this relatively low area, and then we just get this sweetness dangled on top by that sitar and by the chimes. Just a little bit of different things. Anyway, I think we've probably started with a chorus really here rather than a verse. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so we got a little bit of a drop there from the previous section as we come into what's clearly a verse. The voice goes up, so before it was here. Incomprehensible. 3, 2, 1, 3 blind mice. But here it's up there on the 5 of the key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Highway 17, cotton candy rain, driving with my lover.
Yeah, so it feels like quite a different section because of that big change, where we really only get the drums carrying on with the voice. Everything else holds that E major chord, and then instead of going to a chord we've already had so far, we go to the F sharp minor, so a slightly darker place than the others. It's still very diatonic, so everything still fits in the same key. Nothing's truly unexpected and weird, but it's a slightly sadder place.
We missed our plane, so yeah.
And we've got back that that drum groove that we had in the previous section, but the oppressive atmosphere is not here at the moment. The guitars which are there are softer and coming in and out of focus.
Added on the hours to see the loop.
And we don't have the organ, so that's something else that's missing from the space, making it feel slightly less full, slightly more open.
Flowers way up past the border, we blew through Thunder Bay.
And of course the reverb is nowhere near as thick, especially noticeable on the vocals, which are really clear and front of the mix, with just a little bit of like a plate reverb or something on them, making them slightly more sibilant.
The pine trees are narrow, a billion broken arrows, the ravens and the crows, robins and the sparrows, all across Ontario, static on the stereo and swimming in the lake, Old Woman Bay.
So all this section, we've had a slower harmonic rhythm. In the previous section, Incomprehensible, we were really doing 1/4 bar, apart from that second one, which is 2. But here we've had so we had, I guess, 2 bars of E at the beginning there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we had that F sharp minor, and then we had D, and then in this end bit we've actually just ended on B minor, another diatonic chord, the number 2 of the key, but another one that is new to us for this section. So we're really making a defined feeling for this section in comparison to the chorus. The chorus, big, open, simple, clear, if incomprehensible, whereas this one slightly more diverse, slightly more dark or melancholy, even with some of the elements the same. The drums are obviously the same in both sections, but because the chords are different and the melody is more intricate and more there are these minor chords, we feel a little more melancholy and introspection maybe in this section.
Traveling with some stuff I left when I was a kid.
Yeah, so that, which is another intro to another part of the verse, we again got a kind of drop there. The drums decided to do a big long fill right at the beginning of the bar. That's quite an unusual thing to happen. I'm going to go back to the beginning of this verse so we can really feel the changes happening. Okay, so just about here. So open and then closes again.
We missed our plane, so we added on
continues in this. There's one of the changes. There's the B minor chord. And then we come back to A instead of E, another beat. We're actually getting quite a lot of drum variation just in individual small moments. That we just passed a thing where it was going, which it hasn't done in previous parts. So we're getting this thing that I love, that the idea of the chaotic, or the incomprehensible, the free and charismatic and characterful within the rigid structure of a song. It's one of my favourite things.
Robins and the sparrows all across Ontario, static on the stereo and swimming in the lake.
So there's the B minor again.
Traveling with some stuff.
There's the A again, and this is where we get that extra long fill.
I left when I was a kid, Mr. Bay.
Yeah, that eventually relaxes when we get to the F sharp minor. It's really fun. It's a lovely detail.
In the wooden box I hid, full of broken gadgets that mean nothing now. The only thing I'll keep are the letters and the photographs.
So the melody is pretty simple, really, but it changes in minute ways depending on what the words are. The words are more important by far than the notes chosen. So we start here, and then we come down to here basically, or here, and then we come down to here, and there's a little bit of variation, sometimes jumping down, that kind of thing, but those lower notes are more approximate anyway, whereas the ones that are chosen here and here and here and here and then finally here, those ones are really deliberate, and the voice comes back to them regularly, and they unite these different verse sections, of which we've had 3 now. So quite a long verse. I would say this is definitely longer than 16 bars, this, because each verse section I think is 8 bars, because we were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is already a 24 bar verse section here. Let's see if it carries on.
2 days it's my birthday and I'll be 33. That doesn't.
Interesting, it does. That's much more like the first of these verse sections though. We had the E chord, which we didn't have for the previous 2. We've had the A chord beginning both of those, and as well as that we got the E chord and everything stopped like it did the first time, just with some more unpredictable drums. So we've kind of got like an A, B, B, A structure, chiasmus structure within this verse, this long verse.
Really matter next to eternity, but I like a double number, and I like.
We've got a few things just shooting off in the background. We had that sitar earlier, we had the chimes earlier. There's a little attention to detail, little extra things being added to the background, which are noticeable only in passing, and they're not a part of the fundamental sound of the song. It's nice detail. If I were to force meaning onto it, I would say that it's part of that that infinite world that is incomprehensible, as I'm understanding it here, although I'm no doubt, as I don't care about the lyrics and don't follow them, probably missing the point.
Like an odd one too, and everything I see from now on will be something new.
Okay, so in this section we lost the voice, but we kept the chord sequence and we kept the drums. What we also gained was some of those background things really came to the foreground. The guitar in the right headphone was one of those things. But interestingly, it doesn't really feel like anything here is giving us the main thing. It feels like we're meant to just appreciate the different textural elements, different things working together at different times. It's a really, really unusual feel. Let's hear it again.
But I like a double number, and I like an odd one too, and everything I see from now on will be something new.
Yeah, so the first thing there, that sliding synth, and then there's also something else alongside it in the left here. Yeah, something. Just doing those. Might just be a guitar, but it's not very present anyway. And then another guitar in the right headphone, doing this kind of vibrato-y note. Yeah, a few just strings there for a moment, as in, you know, like a violin or something going just for a moment, and then it again disappears into the ether, and then it almost feels like a harpsichord. There's those strings again. Oh, everything's just flowing round and round. Yeah, lots of different elements there on the top while the drums just keep everything connected to the song as a whole. It's lovely, actually. Really, really thought through, and yeah, I guess like a merger of deliberate things, but why each of those individual things? You could puzzle about that forever. I would suggest that is the incomprehensibility coming through again. But importantly, it's about how it feels, not about why.
To say society has given me the words to think that way.
Feels like the bass is a little bit clearer here. Doing something like little movements and a bit of a chugging on the main part of the bar.
Spirals don't get saggy, don't get grey, but the soft and lovely silvers are now falling on my shoulder.
Yeah, similar kind of thing with the melody here. So we've come back to another verse part, haven't we? After that interlude, yeah, I mean verse style instrumental passage.
My mother and my grandma, my great grandma,
more crazy fills. A little bit of the reverb coming back there, isn't there? Just a big swell.
Like the dew and as silver as the rainbow scales that shimmer purple blue.
And there was an echo just on that do at the end there. Do, do. We got that in the left ear. I want to say hemisphere every time, and I'm going to start saying hemisphere more.
Beauty that is living, be anything but true. So that gravity be my sculptor, the wind do my hair.
Here's our third verse section in this second verse section, if you know what I mean. Third verse in this second verse section. So overall that makes 7 individual 8-bar verse sections.
Let me dance in front of people without it.
Just dance again. Just a few words being chosen to echo through here. Maybe the most important ones, or maybe again it's incomprehensible. What's the point of me doing anything?
Care, let me be naked alone with nobody there, with mismatched socks and shoes and stuff stuffed in my underwear.
There's a sound in the left ear that I've only just become cognizant of. But I would say that's probably a distorted guitar in a kind of weird box.
Naked alone with nobody there, with mismatched socks and shoes and stuff
those
stuffed
first
in my
beats.
underwear.
Okay, so this time not completing the 4, just 3 there, and then this is our chorus from the beginning. And we've got harmony vocals now. Incomprehensible. Just very simple, moving down in fourths. A big breath there with no note after it. That's pretty funny. Here we go. Just the one. Interesting. Yeah, so a little bit thicker, but without the harmony vocals now. So again, feeding into this idea of a non-static background noise, I guess, if you like radiation, like cosmic background radiation, and how that is not static, but also seems to be incomprehensible. I don't know. It's all adding up. I feel like a conspiracy theorist for music. That's the chimes back. A little bit of a higher vocal there, going up to the C sharp, a whole lot higher than we've been previous to this. It's doubled there with a few voices. That la 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 seems very deliberate, but again, it's a little bit swallowed by what's going on. So is that just one thing fighting through this miasma that is meaningful? I don't know. And one more incomprehensible. This one has quite a different feeling of texture-wise, because the drums aren't doing their general pattern. They've gone more to a hi-hat based sound, I think. Yeah, more cymbals in general, maybe some ride as well, although it feels just like a ticking on the left side, whereas on the right side we've got a clear open hi-hat sound, which is really tinny actually. Okay, and there's our noises from the beginning again, which fade to more of a synthy sound. It sounds like that's going to go into the next track as well. Well, not exactly what I was expecting, although I would say the long verses are definitely what I was expecting. Very interesting. Yeah, a simple song, only really two main section types. What did we have? We did have sudden drops actually. We did kind of have affected drums as well, I would say. Verse chorus repetition, that's a hard thing to claim here. We had verses, we had choruses, but all the verses happened in the middle and the choruses happened on either end. So I don't think we can call that verse chorus repetition in its conventional sense. We didn't have percussive synths, but we did have organ. Poorly defined section. Well, I guess the second chorus has some a vocal section in the middle, seemingly. So I would call that a poorly defined part of it. Second verse section shorter, genuinely it is, but I think that is a completely random chance that happened. One moving part in hook, well, there's no hook, so no intro. There was an intro. Second section, what does this say? Section longer than 16 bars, 100%. There was a 32 bar section in there. Bridge has multiple sections. No bridge. Building noises. Actually, I would say that's what the chimes are, so yes, we're going to say yes for that. Full mix filter, it's tempting to put it, but it wasn't really a filter. It was just reverb being added to almost everything. Soundscape is almost there, but I'm going to say no, because really it was just those high things and a synth in the background. I don't think that's enough to be called a soundscape. Soundscape really has to be some, it has to give you a feeling of place. Strophic. It's kind of tempting to say strophic, but it isn't, because we do still have verses and choruses, and they aren't just one after the other every single time. Bridge, there was no bridge. Echoes, yeah, there were echoes. Warm, full-fat synths, I wouldn't say so, no, and I wouldn't say 8-bit synths either. Distorted sample, maybe not really. No real samples in there. Odd section lengths, no, not odd ones. One moving part in pre-chorus, well, there wasn't really a pre-chorus. Drop from chorus to bridge, nope. Acoustic drums, yeah, 100%. Beautiful things. Unusual percussion, I'll say yes. I mean, there's the chimes, that's unusual enough, but also the general sound of the drums was pretty unusual. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I would really say the most interesting thing about this was its structure, apart from potentially some absolutely wonderful words. People do like Adrian Lenker's words quite a lot. But the structure didn't feel unusual, it didn't feel uncomfortable. But it was really unusual, having a chorus at the beginning and then 7 verse sections in the middle with one instrumental verse and then a bit more chorus on the end. this is the only song I know that does that. So that's pretty strange. Alright, next one is called Words. Something like that. It's relatively simple harmonically, but it has the quite fun folk rhythm to it. I don't know if that's a specific clave, but it feels quite upbeat, quite fun. Acoustic guitar, and we get some more added things. There's still a little bit of electric guitar just hiding in the periphery in the right headphone. It's not doing anything of particular note, but it's still fading in and out, and it feels like the background noise is still there to some degree. Oh yeah. Yeah. So we've got a lot of ghosting on the bass there, because he's doing constant semiquavers. No, it's not quite that. Something like that. Let's hear it again. Yeah, I think it's on the bass anyway. Yeah. And what is it exactly? Let's get it. Yeah. So that first one, we get two semiquavers right at the beginning. So the 1E, and then the and 2E is fine, and then I think we get and of 2. Yeah, and then we get the yeah, I think then we get the E and the and of the 3. So it's 1E and a E and, if you get the idea. Yeah, 1E and a E and, 1E and a E and, 1E and a E and. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is, with all the other ones muted. That's the idea. God, it's too late for me. And yeah, it goes down. So we're in a different key here, but we're still actually using the main three different chords from the previous song. Chord 1, chord 4, so 5 and chord 4. But we're just in a really different key. We were in A major before, and now we're in E flat major, which is about as far as you can get. And yet, it sounds like a pretty similar kind of place because of that shared relationship between the chords. So that guitar on the other side has cleaned itself up a bit, and now it's more presentable. And it's doing more of that kind of thing. Bit of a kind of funky feeling, really, but with the acoustic ambience, it really doesn't feel funky as such. So the snare drum there, which is kind of, at least where I base my feeling of the rhythm in the drums, the snare is coming on the and of 2, 1 and 2 and then it's coming on 4 as well. 1 and 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we get these two snare hits a bar, and normally, like, the most classic thing to do with a snare would be to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the fact that we delay that we delay the first one, which is on the second beat, a little bit, gives it a little bit of an unconventional feeling, but not something that's super unfamiliar. Just, yeah, some interesting rhythmic things going on. It also means that it hits at the same time as that bass. So we get the 1, 2, ba-dum, and then as the ba-dum hits, that's when that bass comes in, at least one time. Oh, a distorted sample here. There's no. There's warping and being echoed quite a lot. Yeah, so it doesn't even sound like the same thing now. Okay, so now we're into the verse. We've got a little less of the background noise. We've really just got the two guitars, the bass and the drums, as well as Adrian Lenker singing on the top. Again, a very simple melody, unadulterated, I guess, but unadorned was what I was trying to say. Okay, it's a bit late. It is a bit late to be doing this. Let's just have a listen to that section again and get a feeling for how long it is. Yeah. So we had really the same thing 4 times there, and the last 2 times we had the same word subconscious over both of them. Okay, and now we got the same thing, two specific other words, and then subconscious something, subconscious mind maybe, both the second times. So we've kind of gone ABCC ABCC, something like that, or ABCC DECC if you really want to be pernickety about it. Not an unconventional way of doing things, but just a specific way of doing things. It's clearly, indicative of some thought going into it. Okay, so we've gone a bit higher with the melody, and so this feels a little different, but we've still got a lot of the same groove going on underneath. Okay, until now. So we got 2 repetitions of that other melody on the top of whatever that was. Does that count as a pre-chorus section? I don't know. What's this next section? Well, that is actually still the same backing. It's just behind a big wall. It's quieter. It's maybe got a little bit of a filter covering it, and the only thing that breaks through, as with those Aurora songs we've talked about, is the voice. The voice is clear on top of that softer mix, and yeah, just for 2 repetitions again. So overall we've had 12 repetitions of this particular thing since Adrian Lenker started singing, which is not too long, I would say, although the whole thing is probably 2 bars long, so that's 24 bars in this particular section, unless we want to cut it up by what's happening to the background, which I think is, or by what's happening to the melody, I suppose, which there's some reason to do, but we'll wait to see what happens with the rest of the song. Again, in these last 2 versions, we've had a higher melody, even higher than the previous one, going up to that A flat. It's not that high, but it's different to what has happened so far, and it feels like some level of build is going on. Yeah, and as we get into this next one, where I think things are going to change, we get a big crash cymbal. So it's again the same backing really, especially the bass is giving us the connection there, and the drum groove. Actually, is the bass still doing the bubble? I don't think so. I think it's doing something slightly longer most of the time. Maybe something like something like that. So it's not just playing very staccato notes at the moment. But the most weird thing about this next section, not the voice going higher, and again doing a pretty straightforward melody. It's not that. It is the thing going on in the right hemisphere, which sounds really odd. Let's listen to it again. Yeah, it's hard to tell what it is. It's around those two notes, but in a non-specific octave, and it has a lot of sort of feedback giving us extra notes as well. An interesting thing going on. I mean, quite a sort of thick, distorted sound. I would imagine it was made on either a analog synth or maybe a guitar through some specific alterations. I don't know, hard to tell, but it's a fun sound anyway. Yeah, so again, quite a big hit on some of those drums there in comparison to what we have had before. It really seems to blow out the mix for a moment. Okay, and a lovely pause at the end there on an unexpected chord, so we get that. What seemed to make it? Nah. Yeah, and then into the next thing. It's that one. Okay, it's the flat 7 chord. What seemed to make it? Yeah, there's definitely something that does that. It's not an original idea as such, but it's treated in an original way. The atmosphere around what's going on really is quite unique. Yeah, the way that we get those voices fading in, very very grainy sound, and then they suddenly stop and we get a hit on the snare. Yeah, cool. Nice little studio thing there. And then we're into a new section. Let's call that the chorus, shall we? Even though it's got the same groove as the verse, it has quite a different feel to it. And we could say when the filter came down, that was the pre-chorus as well. So that's nice. Anyway, what comes next? Wow. So this is a guitar solo. We've got a proper wah, wah-y kind of sound, I guess. Like through a half open wah, or a quite open wah really, because it's got that high pitched noise, but it's also just missing some of the middle sound. It's an interesting noise. And some distortion, and it's going pretty crazy as well. Like this has been a quite soft, sweet, if energetic song so far. Now this guitar solo is really but let's say characterful. It's energetic as well, but it's also maybe a little show steely or something like that. But as well as the guitar solo going on, we've also got bass doing a lot of improvisation underneath. So we've got both of these guitar parts going ham. And it feels like, well, actually it feels like the bass is very well under control and very meticulous, whereas the guitar on top feels really in the moment, less than planned, less than scripted, just a free expression of emotion. So we're into another verse here, aren't we? Sounds similar to previous ones, but the melody is not quite being treated to the same thing. It's not. It's an approximate version of that, maybe. There's the subconsciouses again. Self-conscious this time. Yeah, you can hear again this background stuff fighting through. It's such an interesting idea to have this on both of these tracks, this noisy background. It's so hard to perceive clearly, and actually only some things burst out from time to time, like some voices there. But it's always there. It's always there. So here's our pre-chorus kind of feeling bit with a slightly higher melody. Again, there everything comes down somewhat. The bass, I get, the kick drum doesn't really. One guitar note coming through there, squealy. It's still there, going mosquitoing in the background while we've got that weird analog synth sound in the right as well. And this is our chorus again, a little bit thicker than before. We've got that whoa 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 sample as well. There's our flat 7 chord again, the one that's out of key. It's out of key, but it doesn't feel so far off because it's closely related to 2 of the 3 chords that we've been doing for most of the song, and the other one it's, I guess, a tertiary shift away from. Yeah, so it's more like we're moving to a different key, which is a very close key, and then we're just going to move back. Same kind of thing. We didn't get the drum hitting this time, just a much softer right. So maybe a different feel is what we're going for in the outro of this song. Still quite an energetic feeling. Still a few things breaking through the background noise, but no guitar solos here. The acoustic guitar from the beginning seems like it's breaking down. It's slowly fading. Again, big snare rolls. This guy loves them. And then, yeah, a little rallentando, a little slow down towards the end. hi-hat carrying on into no man's land here. Sounds like some reverse sounding vocals. Be worth putting that in an analyzer and turning it round, seeing what it says. Yeah, so there's a real devotion to this chaotic background stuff which bursts through at the seams of these songs. That one did have a couple of moments of actual clarity. When the right comes, the word right, there's not much of anything going on. So yeah, so interesting. Let's have a look at how it did on bingo. It didn't have an organ on this one, or percussive synths. We did have verse chorus repetition. We did kind of have affected drums, I suppose. We did have a sudden drop. I wasn't expecting sudden drops from these guys at all. We did have a section longer than 16 bars. We did have an intro. We didn't really have a hook. Second verse section shorter. No, it wasn't. It was the same length. Poorly defined section. Actually, I don't think so here. I think it was pretty straightforward. Strophic. It is actually almost, if the guitar solo weren't there, I think this would count as strophic. But as the guitar solo is there, it doesn't quite work. Then again, it's I guess it's ABC, ABC, and the guitar solo just isn't in the second time. So I'll say it's strophic. The note, soundscape is really difficult, but I don't think it qualifies. Even though there's lots of stuff going on in the atmosphere, it doesn't make us feel like a particular landscape. Full mix filter there genuinely was crazy. Building noises, actually I don't really think so this time. There wasn't a bridge, there wasn't an 8-bit synth, there was a distorted sample, not warm full fat synths, echoes yes, no bridge, unusual percussion, not really this time. Not really, but definitely acoustic drums. Drop from chorus to bridge. Wasn't a bridge, was there? One moving part in pre-chorus. Yes, that is the case. It's mainly the melody that was the moving part. So yeah. And odd section length, no. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again. 10 again. Well, isn't that something? And then there was another song. What's the next song? Los Angeles. This might be the last one I do, but just because I'm feeling pretty knackered. I feel this will be a shorter stream, but I hope that's okay. Los Angeles. Here we go. Nice to hear people had fun making songs, isn't it? Except these are clearly lots of laughs taken out of context and put at the beginning of a piece of music. They are definitely not from the recording studio. At least not from this moment in the recording studio. Got a soft handheld drum kind of sound, that sounds like a bongo maybe, or a I don't know, but yeah, maybe a bongo, just and we've got another acoustic guitar. We're in B flat major, but it sounds like we're using those primary colour chords again. No idea. Let's put it back. There's an electric guitar in the right, acoustic guitar more or less in the left. And the electric guitar now feels like it's got quite a restrictive filter on it. It feels quite bright, but there's not much bass to it. Maybe there's a flanger on it as well, or a phaser. I can never tell the difference. Yeah, so we're going between this kind of open B flat, fifth B flat power chord, but it doesn't feel like it's more open than that. The voicing is larger, more notes, even if they're the same notes. And then this E flat add 9 chord. So we're going between those. So the add 9 there is a note you wouldn't normally get at F in that E flat, but because it's prepared in the previous one, it feels quite comfortable in this one, really. And it's not a hard dissonance anyway. It's not a really crazy note to have with that chord. So it all sounds soft, and also those are our chord 1 and chord 4. Still not chord 5 in here, but pretty much the same paint as the previous songs. Yeah, and the bass, again, a little bit more active than the other parts, doing something like to get to that 4 chord. Yeah, little melodic gestures in the bass. We've also got a tambourine in the drums, so quite unusual percussion here in the drums. Maybe using the toms a bit more than normal as well. Okay, some harmony vocals just for an ooh there.
Los Angeles, 3:33, nothing on the stereo. Dirty tear like Mona Lisa.
Okay. 3 blind mice. So we're going to be around these 3 blind mice quite a lot in this one, I imagine.
Smiling in the half light, mysteriously, but seriously, I'd follow you forever.
Yeah. So when we get to that 4 chord, the E flat, we get that extra number 4 note as well. But yeah, we're playing around with really just those 4 notes on this melody so far.
Even without looking, you call, we come together.
But what's interesting about it is how these words come together and use them, and actually every phrase has its own specificity of which notes are used when, how it fits in the bar structure. So this is how you make interest out of no interest, I suppose. You take something that is very straightforward, and then you can change an element of something else in relation to it to make something quite special. It's the same thing that Counting Crows do, or at least did all the time on August and everything after. So as well as having some really, really beautiful moments of melody, Mr. Jones is just constantly sha la 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 la. It's the same 3 notes, and yeah, he's looking at me, these kinds of things. It just, it then spoils itself by going Mr. Jones and going all the way up to that higher note. Spoils itself. Really, that is definitely the best bit of that song. But anyway, lots of words around the same pitches can have interest if they aren't always doing the same rhythm and the same pitches at the same time. That's the basic takeaway message here, and that is what Big Thief are doing here.
Even without speaking, you say.
Okay, and just a little movement up to some new notes to keep everything exciting, but also to actually kind of herald a new section of the verse.
You sang
Oh, actually, it's not even the verse really. This is maybe a chorus.
The picture box is full.
So this song has much less of an oppressive background noise. Everything seems a lot clearer. That thing that I thought was a guitar in the right, it might actually be another organ.
The picture box is full, and we are kissing in a fistful of fragments.
Hard to tell. It's an organy sound, but that's really just the effects that are on it. It might well be a guitar, but maybe for the purposes of the bingo, I'll call it organ.
It's falling down. I throw them up and I watch them hit the ground like snow. Amputated diamond.
So there we had quite an extraordinary little phrase. Based on pitch, it was really all over the place in comparison.
Full of fragments falling down.
Fragments falling down. So there's a bit of word painting there, because we're falling down. We're falling out of the main notes that we've been using for this melody.
I throw them up and I watch them hit the ground like...
Throw them up, up. Okay, so going up there. It does continue, watch them, as well, up there. So maybe it's not just completely word painting there, or maybe it's something like indiscriminate word painting, or broad strokes word painting.
Snow, amputated dimension of the physical.
And then we're straight back to those three notes. Amputated dimension of the physical.
Melting image without sound part.
Okay, but some more elaboration there. So really it's gone from something that was quite simple to something that is more complicated.
Avenue, 838, waving to my best friend, like a soldier at the gate of tears. Feels like it's been 10 years, has it only been 2 years?
Build up in the drums, can you feel it?
2 years, feels like forever, but I know you with that look and you call we come.
But amazingly, that was just the middle of the verse. Surely we felt like that was going somewhere else, but it wasn't. It was just a long, long verse.
Together.
How long is this verse? I haven't been keeping track. If anyone knows, please let me know.
Even without speaking, you sang for me.
There we go. There's the "You Sang For Me" again. Bringing our chorus again.
You sang for me.
And again, like the previous time, we get choral vocals on that second "You Sang For Me." Interesting choice for a melody, but suddenly soaring up to that top F where you hadn't seen that coming at all. Nice little sweet moment, and a bit of variation, and also kind of showing us again a new section, maybe a hook, or maybe it's just a bit of an instrumental hang around. Well, the acoustic guitar is giving us a little more than normal. There's an extra note to that. Actually, maybe the bass does that at the beginning, but we've got that major seventh dissonance. It's quite a beautiful dissonance though, isn't it? Yeah. Being held on, and yeah, there's some interesting things going on in the vocal harmonies as well. Let's just hit listen again. Yeah, so they've got it too on the A there, as well as the third. So again in fourths, these harmonies, which is not, I guess, the most conventional way. It's rectified to a third. Lovely.
The ocean is bright and blue.
Okay, and now is this presumably another verse. This is what we would expect from a more folk-based musical group, is we would expect lots of verse, not so much of the choruses, and especially not so much of extra sections. We keep the songs simple and just additive as opposed to, no, is that what I mean? I don't know. Definitely not adding new sections unless they are sections we've already had or similar to sections we've already had.
And it opens to you every day.
Feels like a softer section here, I think because of the drum groove. Let's listen to the previous one, see what the drums are doing.
8:38, waving to my best friend like a soul.
So quite a lot, they're doing quite a lot here, but in the next one I think they're toned down to somewhat mainly hi-hat and a little bit of side stick. Here it comes.
The ocean is bright and blue, and it opens
side
to
stick.
you.
So that, instead of the bah big sound of the snare, just a little click as it hits the side. And makes a much softer feeling, much more intimate feeling.
Every day. It took you in when I pushed you away. It was your
So I don't think got any bass at the moment.
lover, it was your mother.
So that opens it up a little bit more, makes it feel more sparse, more intimate.
And there is so much that I wish I could have been for you somehow.
Very interesting. And I don't know the meaning of it, but there we had two different vocalists singing the same line at the same time at the same pitch, but really clearly two different vocalists. I mean, not many people sound like Adrian Lenker, so if there was going to be another person singing it, you would be able to tell, and you absolutely can hear two different people singing. And why? I don't know, to emphasize it, but I feel like there's more at play there.
We don't need to talk about that now. We're finally in a good place.
Okay, but for these later ones, they're singing in harmony now, still really locked in, rhythmically moving together, but just on different notes now.
Face to face on an airplane. 27.
And it's gone. So just for that end part in the sparser section, that extra voice, and now we're bringing in a heavier section again with more drums and maybe more other things as well. It sounds like something weird up in the echelons.
2070 crossing the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, there's something buzzing around like there. I really can't tell what instrument it
I
is.
can see I'm headed home from somewhere that
Yeah, and something up there. But again, can't tell what it is really. Sounds like it might be a piano, maybe like a Western bar piano kind of thing, tinkling away on the ivories.
I can't be remembering everything. I follow you forever, even without looking. You call, we come together, even without speaking. I can tell what you are thinking, even without saying.
Okay, so we've got into a repetitious phrase now, this even without thinking, I can tell what you're thinking. Probably isn't that. Just repeating similar phrases to that. This is a really fun thing to do, and this is no doubt going to elongate this verse somewhat.
And we dream our dreams together, even without laying in the same bed. And you say to me,
Oh really? We only got 4 repetitions of it. I feel like that I could have taken that a whole lot longer, but there we are. We're into the chorus now, and we've got harmony vocals straight from the beginning of this chorus.
you say for me, you say for me, you say for me.
Another guitar solo, but this one an outro guitar solo. I don't mind it. Yeah, so there's that bass line again, the do 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 do. So labouring on that 7 for a surprising amount of time. So that chord. Yeah. if you pay attention to it, that does sound dissonant, but it's something that you can more or less get away with, especially because we are constantly moving between one comfortable chord and another comfortable chord. Okay, I wouldn't say guitar solo really, but there was a bit of guitar taking the fore for a moment. Again, it's this almost psychedelic feeling thing where the things keep coming to the fore and disappearing again. So again, I'll slow down towards the end there with these bang, bang, bang unified hits that aren't quite in time with each other. That adds to, I guess, the homespun feeling of the music. And again, that background stuff is bursting through at the end. Well, this is really, in some ways, what I expected. And that song does feel like a classic Big Thief kind of feel, but there are some just quite interesting choices in the production that sit strangely with me. I'm not completely sold straight away. I don't think any of those songs hit as hard as the first three on the previous album, which Change, which is really great. Time Escaping, I think it's such a fun groove, and then Spud Infinity, which has some lovely lyrics on it. So yeah, we're not smashing it, I would say, on this album, but it still feels like some good old Big Thief, I suppose. So I don't think we really had a sudden drop in that one. You could maybe argue that the change into the third verse was that, but I'm not convinced. I'm not going to put it down. Affected drums, I don't really think we did have affected drums in that one. There was something close to the beginning of the track, I think, but I don't think that counts. First chorus repetition, yes. Because of synth, no. Organ, we'll say yes. Poorly defined section, not really. I think we had verse sections and we had chorus sections, and then we had the end section, which is a little hard to define, but it's more, you could call it an instrumental quite happily, I think. Second verse section shorter, I don't think so, but I wasn't paying attention. One moving part in hook, we didn't really have a hook. Oh, I guess we did have that moment of, yeah, alright, we'll give poorly defined section. There was an intro, section longer than 16 bars, yeah, there always is, seemingly, in these guys. Bridge has multiple sections, no bridge. Building noises, no. Full mix filter, no. Soundscape, no. Strophic, again, we're right on the edge, but I think there were too many unusualnesses about it for the strophic to be okay. Bridge, no bridge. Echoes, I didn't really hear any particular echoes in that one. Warm full fat synths, no. Distorted sample. Again, right at the beginning of the track, maybe? I can't remember, I'm just going to say yes. 8-bit synths, no. Odd section lengths, no. One moving part in pre-chorus, yes. No, hang on, we didn't have a pre-chorus. Never mind. Drop from chorus to bridge, no. Acoustic drums, hell yeah. And unusual percussion, that was a tiny bit at the beginning, I guess we'll give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's much less impressive. But so it goes. The bingo is essentially meaningless. It's just something to keep things slightly more lively. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, that was Big Thief and Double Infinity. yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm really happy to get into them with their previous album. I had tried Oof Off and I'd tried Two Hands, and I thought they were okay, but I was not that enthused. And then I listened to Dragon, Big Mountain, etc., and I thought, just straight from the off, it was hit after hit. I'm I guess less fond of Certainty, which is the fourth track. But I think the track Dragon New One Mountain, I Believe in You, is beautiful. Sparrow is excellent. Little Things is pretty fun. And then I start to lose it a little, but we've still got some really great stuff going on there. It is 20 tracks long, and I don't think they're all killer. And it, yeah, could probably be shorter. I don't know how it ends up being 80 minutes, even with 20 tracks. That seems a bit crazy. But nonetheless, I would happily listen to all of that. And yeah, I imagine this one is also just going to sit on in a comfortable place where it's easy to listen to, despite its density. All right, have a good life and a good day. I will hopefully be doing another Aurora one soon, and then I'm sort of going to try and rejig things so I can do a stream on Friday when all the new music comes out, just because that's when people are going to be interested in it that day. It's important to get it that day, because they're not going to care about it the day after. Sad to say. Music, yeah, it's the same with every art. There's so much of it that even the stuff that gets promoted, which is probably really like 10% of what's created, if that, even that stuff is basically done with by the end of the week, because there's another set that have to be promoted the week after. It's just too much. How, I don't know, do we want to go back to a situation where only the elite could create music? There would only be a small amount then. That would be a good thing. We would be more easily capable of consuming what there was, but maybe that is a bad thing. Maybe we want no scarcity in music so that we can consume exactly the right amount and no more and no less. I don't know. It seems like a big old mess. Bye. See you soon.